It's very difficult to get away from the independence debate these days. It's on the news all the time, it's on Facebook, and it's on lots of other places. I'm sure Twitter and all these other people are really speaking about it. And I think in the country in general, there is concern, worry about what will happen. What will happen? Where will people vote? Will they vote for? Will they vote against? And whatever happens as a result of that, the question is, what is our economy going to be like? Will we have jobs? Will we be worse off? Will we be better off? Will it be worth staying in Scotland? All sorts of things. And people are worried, because we don't know what's going to happen. This is a big thing that's infecting our whole country. But, our worries in general are usually more personal. My health. I'm getting sick, and what's going to happen with the kids or the job? The job itself, am I going to find work? I'm finding it very difficult at the moment to find work, and paying for the rent is difficult. All sorts of issues. Will I find work? Will I keep my job? Difficulties with the family. So-and-so's not speaking. We haven't heard from them for a while. All of these sort of things. There's terrorism issues. And sometimes it's not just one. Actually, we're extremely lucky if we've got one problem. Because most of the time, as you know, problems comes in twos and threes, and often they seem to swamp us. And all of a sudden, it's everything at once, and it's like an avalanche or a tsunami coming upon us, and we're drowned beneath it all. And we begin to think, where is God in this? Has He abandoned me? Has He forgotten that I even exist? And it's not an unusual feeling, because this is exactly the way the people of Israel were feeling when the prophet Isaiah wrote. God speaking to them in their slavery, in their bondage. These people had been through a war, an invasion. They had to flee to the capital, and in the capital they had to put up with months of being under siege, food getting scarce, water scarce, so people starving, people who knows what sort of things they had to put up with in that siege itself. Then the invasion, as the Babylonians took over, invaded, killing people left, right, and center, families being split up, and then dragged off to a foreign country, foreign culture, and then being under oppression. And they were feeling, Lord, where are you? How could you let us go through this? How could you abandon us? How could you forget us? And what the people of Zion go through, we too go through. And what they've generally said to God is what we often say to God. The Lord has abandoned me. The Lord has forgotten me. And then He speaks to His people, to us. Does a woman forget the baby at the breast, or fail to cherish the son of her womb? Could you forget your child? Could you abandon your child? Could you put up with the suffering of your child? We would want to take away that suffering. You know this. A woman doesn't forget the child in her womb or her children. But some do. Some don't care for their children and would prefer not to have them. Some parents would kill the children in their womb. Some parents are just not very loving. And God is saying, I am not like that. Even if these forget, these who should never forget, who should never stop loving, even if these do, I will never forget you. Never. And it brings to mind that passage from Romans 8, where St. Paul tells us, "Nothing, therefore, can come between us and the love of Christ. Even if we're troubled or worried or being persecuted or lacking food or clothes or being threatened or even attacked. For I'm certain of this, neither death nor life, no angel, no prince, nothing that exists, nothing still to come, not any power or height or depth, not any created thing can ever come between us and the love of God made visible in Jesus Christ." There is nothing, no trouble that we can go through that God will ever stop loving us. He never ever forgets us, never ever abandons us. And we hear Jesus reinforcing that in the gospel when he uses the example of the birds of the air and the grass in the field. He speaks about how the Lord cares, feeds the birds in the air, how he looks after them, feeds them, and how he clothes the grass in the fields. And the thing with it is, he's trying to say, look at these things, the flowers in the fields, how much are they worth? They're not worth anything. Really, they're not worth anything. They might be nice to look at, but their value is such. Birds of the air, there are millions and billions of them. What is their value? Nothing really. And Jesus is saying is, God is aware when one sparrow falls to the ground. He knows about it. A sparrow that's worthless, he knows about it. He feeds that sparrow. Grass in the field, here today, gone tomorrow. He clothes, he knows every blade of grass. He cares about it. And so if that's how he behaves, if that's how much he cares for these little things that are worthless, how much more you? How much more you? We get caught up in possessions, having the food that Jesus is saying, the food and the money to live, where our mind is often so much in the future and what the future is going to bring, that we fail to live in the present. Or if it's not in the future, it's in the past, where we're thinking about what so-and-so did to me or said to me, the guilt of what I did perhaps. And so we find ourselves living in the past or living in the future and not in the present. Jesus said, don't worry about the future, what we're to eat, what we're where we're to get the money from. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Then everything else will be given to you. Seek first the kingdom of God. God is not in the future. God is not in the past. He is in the present. And we can only seek the kingdom of God. We can only seek him in the present, because today, this present, this now, is the only time we're able to have any control over. We can only affect now. That's it. What happens 2 minutes from now, we have no control over. Who knows, maybe a meteorite and we're all dead, you know? We can't stop that. But we can do something about now. And Jesus is saying, seek now, seek first the kingdom of God. Love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength, with everything that you are. Love him now. Love your neighbor now as yourself. Love one another as I have loved you, completely unselfishly, not counting the cost. Now do this. Now. If we're able to live now in the present where God is, if we're able to love now, do the little things now, then God will be able to take care of the rest. But we have to be present, and often we're not, because we've got our speakers on, we're always listening to music, we're always watching TV, and the present is just filled with noise, and so we're not able to engage with our God. We're not able to hear him. I want you to just stop for a minute and just be still. Just be still. This is where God is. In the silence, in the stillness, now. And you can do this anytime. You can stop anytime and bring yourself into the present and into God's presence. It's here that he is. It's here that we are. So let's love him now and love our neighbors now. Let God take care of the rest.